What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2024 Kia EV9 alongside the all-new 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now in today's video, basically we're going to be talking about this all-new 3-row electric SUV from Kia. How does it stack up to its closest gasoline competitor? Obviously Hyundai and Kia are part of the same parent company, and you can already tell with the looks of these two, they look extremely similar. Now this one right here is a fully loaded EV9 coming in at $78,000. Now this limited Santa Fe is about $45,000. A Calligraphy will be on sale in the coming months, which I would assume will be maybe 60 grand fully loaded. So the big question is, are these cars worth the price? Is it worth spending at least a minimum of over $20,000 more to get into the fully electric version? Obviously at the price point, you really aren't concerned about saving money on gas because it would take you decades to save that given how much more expensive the electric car is. But let's go ahead and take a look at these two vehicles, see if it's worth getting the electric for the price point increase. Moving on to the drivetrain with each of these SUVs. On the Santa Fe, the best option available is a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine paired to the 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. This does have all-wheel drive capabilities, maxing out at 270 horsepower. Curb weight is 5,000 pounds and max towing is up to 4,500 pounds. If we take a look over at the EV9, and this is fully electric with a 1,200 pound battery pack. It has about 379 horsepower. It is all-wheel drive as well. Max towing is up to 5,000 pounds, and then the overall curb weight is 5,800. Now taking a look at the exterior styling, both of these have that very boxy look. They're pretty cool looking. They definitely look futuristic and modern just with the overall style. You can also tell that the entire length, height, dimensions, all that are pretty identical. Proportions are nearly identical. So you can definitely tell that these are these sibling vehicles just from the different automakers. A little bit more curvy looking on the Kia, has a little bit more sculpture to it. And then over on the Hyundai, definitely got more of the boxy design. But overall, you can tell they are similar in shape and they both have that modern appearance. So now inside the Hyundai Santa Fe Limited, keep in mind when the Calligraphy comes out, that will be more on par with the actual competitive trim level to the top of the line EV9 we're taking a look at. However, this is a still very nice interior, and at $45,000, pretty good bargain. Got a really unique looking steering wheel. You have controls right here for the LCD screen along the gauge cluster. You can see all sorts of different bits of information that are going to come up, kind of what you would expect. You do have the nice turn signal cameras as well, which is a cool touch. Screen is one large curved screen, technically with 2 screens inside of it. Basically what you would expect on any modern Hyundai. Very nice to use, easy to use, full screen navigation, of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, things like that. If we go ahead and take a look at the stock right here, going into reverse, we got the cameras and everything. Into forward, you can see that 360 view. So nice camera system for sure. Drive select, you twist this forward for drive, back for reverse, press the button for P. Normal stocks and everything, controls over on the left side. There is some plastic on here, however this Limited has this nice vinyl leather material up on top with the plastic wood trim, so this actually feels pretty nice. Of course this is all plastic even though it looks like wood and aluminum, however it does look nice. And then the dashboard once again has this vinyl material across it, more of it along the secondary glove box cover. So it is a pretty nice interior for the Santa Fe Limited. Keep in mind, $45,000 for this interior. This is pretty nice. Down below, you're going to see all the climate control settings. There are shortcut buttons for the actual screen, which I think is a good touch just to not have to always use touchscreen. These are all touch sensitive icons, which may or may not be your favorite. I'm not the biggest fan because you really have to find that icon and tap it. So if your hand's shaking at all while you're driving, could be a little bit of a challenge. You got dual zone temperature, drive modes as well. We have normal, sport, and then a custom one. We have wireless phone charging pads, more USBs, cup holders, storage down below, good size glove box, and more of this vinyl with stitching. The seats have a really nice look with the perforations. Got the cool design throughout the center. And then even the headliner has a nice gray color, so a little bit more unique than your typical one. Got a normal mirror on this particular vehicle. And then there's one full look at the dashboard layout and everything. Now into the rear seats. So with the driver's seat at my height, 5'11", I have good legroom and knee room. You have storage here. There's heated seats, storage, cup holders, all the same materials for the second row, which is nice to see. They didn't skimp out on any of that. You're also gonna get manual sunshades, nice armrest, cup holder storage in the door panel, armrest in the center. There's also gonna be USB ports on these seats, and then you can even pull this back for more storage back here. You even get your cool air vents with more of this nice design. If you press this button, that will get the second row out of the way, and then we have the 2 seats in back. With more amenities, you have climate vents, USBs, more storage back here, and then you can see speakers with the larger windows. So in the third row now, it is worth pointing out, you have a massive panoramic roof up here as well. If I go ahead and get the second row back in place, not too bad back here. Again, 5'11". Now this seat is incredibly low, so my knees are really high up. Not the greatest third row, however, this honestly is useful. If you sit maybe a little sideways even, it's really not bad. So there's room back here, just very low seats would be the only complaint. Good amenities, good recline, good headrest, good overall room for sure. So with this one, the one biggest thing I'm gonna notice, the interior of the Santa Fe for the price looks a little bit better for the dash and doors. This one kind of has a soft touch plastic. However, it looks like plastic. You can see the gray trim on it. They kind of look a little cheap in this section. And then the dashboard, it's just kind of a plastic material. So I will say, I wish the tops of the doors and dash were more premium for $80,000. I mean, that is just definitely a little bit of a downfall. Other than that, this interior is super nice. Of course, higher trim level. We have all the controls you're gonna expect on the steering wheel. Drive modes are down below. And we have the massive screen, a little bit more drive modes as well. But then if we toggle just a little bit, you can see kind of what you would expect to see in here. But similar, as you can tell, given they are in the same family, all the same stuff will pop up. This screen is a little bit larger. As you can see, we even have a secondary screen in the center, which you can't see while driving. So kind of odd placement for this. This is a lot of your climate controls, and you just toggle this to then get really into your climate. I'm not the biggest fan of that. However, there are physical ones down below. So your fan speed and temperature, you can always easily adjust, which is a really great touch. Very grateful that they have these buttons here. But with that, the screen itself, kind of again, what you'd expect from Hyundai and Kia, they all both look pretty much the exact same features and everything. This one, the stock is very similar for the drive. Your start button is actually right here, which is a little odd, but we twist this for reverse, got all the same cameras, everything as you would expect. Going into drive, same sort of deal. So that technology is all pretty much identical. You have some basic controls over on the left side. I do like the pedals. You have a plus and minus, which is a cool touch for the EV. And then there are these touch sensitive icons for shortcuts. All those controls, same sort of plugs, all the similar types of storage. Of course, this one has a little bit more ambient lighting, being a high trim level. Storage in the center that you can close away. Wireless phone charging, a little bit of storage there. And then more lighting on the dash. So you can certainly tell it's like the same layout, just, you know, it looks like a Kia, and here they've changed it up just a little bit, and higher trim gets a little bit more options. Seating surfaces, of course, are nicer being a higher trim level, but is this worth especially almost double the price? That is a lot of money. They have controls on the seats, plugs on them. So definitely a nice place to be. Similar sunroof design with the panels on the roof, controls there, and then the camera for the rear view. And then one more look at the dashboard layout. Certainly it is a really cool looking vehicle, just a little bit of plastic up there. So driver's seat and everything at my height, same leg room, all that sort of thing. Really, really cool seats with this fabric material and the mesh. And then you're also gonna get the big sunshades. You do have heated and ventilated seats on this trim, which is a really cool touch. More ambient lighting and storage. And then down below, we have more storage that all pops up. So that is a cool touch, just a little bit bigger than the Hyundai's. Plugs, as you can see. And then this one has the captain's chairs. Really nice synthetic leather material. It feels incredibly soft. So this is really, really nice. I definitely like that. I just wish this material was across the tops of the doors and dash. Then I think the price tag of almost $80,000 might make a little bit more sense. But nonetheless, it's a nice second row, even with climate controls all up there. with more of your air vents, grab handles, and a nice material. You're also going to have power controls. Again, high trim level. We have a footrest as well that will pop outwards. So this really does have luxury things you're going to find on a European car. We have different buttons you can press to move the seats rather than more manual controls. However, that'll get out of the way, and we have the 2 seats in back. Nicer materials on the seats, but you're still going to get the plugs, a little bit of storage, and then just the large windows with air vents up on top. Sitting now in the 3rd row, let's see, with these seats you got to press the button on the top and they're going to automatically now come back to the position they were in. Sitting here, this seat is a little bit higher off the ground. My legs are much flatter, not as much, up in my chest like that. So that's nice to see. These seats are a little bit better back here. So for the price, that does make sense. With the captain chairs, of course, you have the extra legroom, but you got your air vents, the big windows. The seats do recline. So I'd say very similar layout, as you can tell. It'll be neat to see what a Calligraphy is set up in the interior. But you can tell so far these are the same cars, just this one does have a little bit better interior for the money, nicer seating surfaces, the lighting, a little bit more options and features all throughout. All right, so now driving in the Hyundai Santa Fe, let's talk about the driving dynamics, because realistically, at the end of the day, you're going to spend a lot more money to get the EV9, which is basically the fully electric version of this vehicle. If you look at 3-row family SUVs, there's a ton out there, and at the price point of a fully loaded EV9, you're talking about a Mercedes GLS or a BMW X7. That's a pretty nice vehicle to buy at the same price point. However, if you look at the other spectrum of it, this Santa Fe is the closest gas competitor. And this particular one, the Limited at 45, honestly seems like an absolute bargain already, just because a lot of the other brand 3-rows, especially the Americans, the Tahoes, Expeditions, they're gonna be a lot more expensive than that. So this one, you get the good efficiency, which is a really nice plus. It's not too bulky, same platform obviously as the EV9, where it doesn't feel like a big old Tahoe or something crazy to drive. So it's a nice size vehicle for the money, and you get a lot. And at $45,000 for being the Limited, this is very nicely feature packed. Of course, the Calligraphy, when that is available, they're not currently out yet. That'll probably have a lot more features, gizmos and gadgets, just kind of like how the EV6 is set up, and will be a little bit more expensive as well. But testing out the turbo engine, all right, this one might be front-wheel drive. That was some torque steer. That was a little funny. Obviously, if you spec it out, all-wheel drive and things like that, not a bad way to go. So this one, plenty of power. You get up to speed. It feels like a normal car. You feel the transmission shift a little bit. You have to let the engine do its thing. Electric cars have that instant power, very smooth quality to them. Ride quality in this, we're just in the normal drive mode, which honestly really isn't going to change all too much. Sport mode will just make it a little bit sharper. This feels nice. It's not incredibly refined or anything like that. It does feel, and you can feel the bumps a little bit. Wind noise, you don't really hear anything like that. Just the suspension, you can tell it's just a pretty average SUV suspension, I would say. Nothing luxurious or plush about it. The seats and everything, they're comfortable, great armrest. It's a good place to be. And again, for the price point, this is a really cost-effective family SUV. I see a lot going for this. Only dislikes, I don't like the touch-sensitive buttons for the climate control, because you really have to look at them. With the glare, it's actually hard to see the screen, so kind of hard to tell what you're going to be changing. I think that's a little bit of a distraction. And then you have to really touch it perfectly if your hand's not moving with, the bumps in the road. So that's not something that I'm the biggest fan of. Nice materials in here to where for 45 grand, it feels like this is very well priced. And of course the screen, as you'd expect. Moving on to the EV9, one of the things you will definitely notice is the quietness. The electric cars, that is a plus. Extremely quiet. You don't hear any of the engine, the drivetrain at all. This is very nice to be in. It really is a nice place to be. Definitely a pretty cool plus. This is kind of the only 3-row electric vehicle, and it does have insane amount of features that you don't even get on those other brands. So it is nice to see this very feature-packed vehicle. I just think some of the materials need to be more up to par if they're going to charge this much money for it. So acceleration, I will say with the electric, very smooth, very silent, incredibly nice. Now the suspension, this also is a huge step up. I know this one has the adjustable rear suspension, self-leveling basically, and it shows. You hit bumps and everything. It's incredibly soft. The vehicle just seems very well planted. So already this does seem like a nicer step up as far as the overall ride quality. It feels like a higher spec vehicle, which is a great plus, especially for the price. You know, this is a lot more money if you're going for this electric version. All right, so after driving in the Santa Fe and the EV9, looking at all the pricing, the Santa Fe is $33,000 up to $46,000, and that's the Calligraphy at $46,000. Now, of course, adding options on that, given this limited is $45,000, I would say about 50, low 50s would be the top of the Santa Fe. The EV9 starts at $55,000. So a top of the line Calligraphy Santa Fe will be right where the base model EV9 is. That's basically where these two vehicles are going to overlap. Now at that price point and option, you're gonna get a fully loaded, very nicely equipped Santa Fe versus a very basic, just rear wheel drive on the electric one. So cool to see that. I think that makes some sense. Topping out on the EV9, starting price at $74,000 for the GT line. This one as spec'd, which is a GT line, is close to $78,000, pretty much absolute at the top. And again, it's really just gonna come down to, do you want the electric version? You're definitely gonna be spending a lot more to get options that are equal, electric versus gas, and the maybe $20,000 difference, you're definitely never gonna save that in gas, given that might take you 10, 15 years to actually just break even. But I think Hyundai and Kia have done a good job giving you the spectrum. A $50,000 spectrum of a similar platform, I think, is a pretty good range to get an affordable family SUV that'll work for you. So comment below, what do you guys think? Are the electric cars worth the price point? Is it worth spending the extra for this when you can get basically the same car for a good 20 grand less? Comment below and let me know. But that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. See you all in the next video.